Welcome in, Magic fans. The Orlando Magic will be taking on the Atlanta Hawks tonight in the Eastern Conference play-in game between the 7th and 8th seeds. That'll be for a chance to go play the defending champion Boston Celtics. So what you're about to watch is going to be me on the Hawks Digest channel, chatting it up, talking with their host, previewing this game and this matchup. We talk about everything. We talk about Corey Joseph, the matchup between him and Trae Young, and it all upcoming in this video.
Now, we've split the season series between the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic. Both teams have dealt with the injury bug. I know that you guys dealt with it a little earlier in the season, but we're able to kind of get things back together. Myself with the Hawks, we've dealt with the injury bug consistently. When you look at the injury report, it definitely shows that we are definitely a team that has more players on the injury bug, more useful players on the injury list. But you guys have somebody that is taking on a tough task of going against Trae Young. Could you give me a little bit of insight? Because I know somebody is out for tonight's game, and I haven't necessarily had a lot of, connection with the Magic per se. So, I brought you on specifically because I know tonight is going to be a big night. And who else could I talk to other than the man himself, Patrick Previty, to talk about the Orlando Magic?
Yeah, so Trae Young, like you said, leading the league in assists. He's amazing. And for anybody to actually try or attempt to slow him down, that's a tall task. That's a tall order for anybody in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But for Corey Joseph, I got to be honest, I'm not too confident in him. Now, this is a player who has kind of stepped up as the season has gone on over the last month or so. Jamahl Mosley, the head coach of the Orlando Magic, really trusts him, and that's why he is still starting. I don't know how many possessions as the game wears on, Corey Joseph will be on Trae Young. There has been examples still over the last month since Corey Joseph has drawn the starts where he maybe isn't the point guard that is playing the most minutes. I think Cole Anthony and Anthony Black, who you showed earlier, they're going to be thrown at Trae Young, I would say, a lot more often, especially if Trae Young can get it going at any points in the game. I think they're going to try to get Corey Joseph off of him. But yeah, as a Magic fan, as somebody who's been following the team for so long, I think Trae Young, he's going to get his if Corey Joseph is on him the whole game. I mean, I would literally ballpark it for 35.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be interesting to see how that plays out, how the Magic are going to be attacking just the Hawks in general, because I've pointed out on my podcast how and I said it earlier in the season, Zach Ricochet was going and is going to be somebody that will help Trae Young offensively, and he has done so. He's actually found a way to get his shot together. He's been practicing during, after, and after practice or whatnot. He's definitely stepped up in a way. Dyson Daniels has become the great barrier thief that we all know and love. He has become the defensive threat, and hopefully these gentlemen can take the the rookie of the year and defensive player of the year, not defensive rookie of the year, but I feel as though the Magic have a lot more to go at other than just Trae Young, and I feel as though Paolo Banchero, he's responsible for more than just more than one player. Give me a little bit of insight on Paolo and how his role for tonight's game is going to be.
So when I look at Paulo, I usually kind of lump him in with Franz. Honestly, they take on so much responsibility. Maybe defensively, certainly they have plenty of responsibility, but as a team and defensively as a team, the Magic just find their ways to run the opponent off the 3-point line, and they have to because they can't really hit threes.
You guys are the best defensive defensive three-point defending team, correct?
Yes, I do believe so. But I know they're second in defensive rating for the entire league.
Okay.
And unfortunately, 27th in offensive rating in the league. I do know also this Magic team is one of the worst three-point shooting teams of the last decade. So they have to be, right? And I think that's part of the burden on Paulo and Franz is this team is so awful shooting wise on some given
I
nights
love your
that
honesty, by the way.
yeah, no, yeah, it's so bad that they have to find offense, just enforce their will. A lot of times tonight, if the Magic get cold from three, you're just going to see Paolo or Franz just literally play bully ball with whoever's on them and just try to get to the rim. It'll be a contested layup. They make a lot of those. And that is the burden and the responsibility that is on them both. Now, defensively, even if at some points the Atlanta Hawks get things going, I think the Magic should still be okay. And I don't think we haven't really seen very many times where Paulo or Franz got into foul trouble, but it's really just the main burden is that offense. If they can't get somebody off the bench, that third scorer, it's going to be a long night for those two guys. They're going to have to. I'll just go out and say this right now. The Magic's path to winning is those guys baseline. First things first, need to probably combine for at least 50 points, just scoring 50 points, and they need to be responsible probably for like 75.
Right, right.
So adding to the assist game, yeah.
Right. Now, I do see how, and I love your honesty again, because that is something that I don't think a lot of people expect from guys that do run pages like this. Is almost like an oblivious hope that we almost possess sometimes. But when we're able to be truthful about the matter, it definitely adds another level of transparency. On our end, I do understand that we have a terrible knack of playing up and down to our competition. Whereas we might play against the Lakers tough as nails. Might even this year we've beat them in overtime in Atlanta. But the issue is we'll go to Washington and we'll lose by 20. We'll go to Portland and we'll lose by 30. And one of the things that I notice is that when the opportunity presents itself for the Hawks to go further, in a sense, I know earlier this year we were as highest as number 5 as far as the standings. And then right after that, we went on a terrible 8 or 9 game losing streak, which plummeted us back into the play-in or the Hawks Invitational. It has plummeted us back into that area, and it's almost like we cannot find our way out of it. So in that sense, I know what you mean as far as you guys being a tough defensive team, but yet offensively, it's very tough for you guys to find that. In my stance, I know with the Atlanta Hawks, if our shots are falling, it's going to be a tough night for any team. One of the things I've noticed, and I've looked back through the year as far as how we've played each other primarily tight. We both tied the season series. I think we won one on the road. You guys won one on the road, home and home, whatever. But this is a major opportunity, and I'm afraid that we might be playing on Friday going for, you know what I mean? Just we might be playing on Friday because of the fact that we played down to our competition. When I look at the box score, I noticed that you guys have done a pretty good job on Zach Richiche as far as limiting his offensive production. Now, granted, you guys played against him earlier in the season where he wasn't necessarily sure of his shot. He hadn't necessarily put things together completely. But as the season is worn down, he has been able to find his rhythm, per se. I know the time that we played you guys, he didn't necessarily have that. I think he registered 9 points, and his minutes were definitely lower. Is there a player that you feel as though has been restricted playing against the Atlanta Hawks, or is there somebody that you're keeping your eye on, per se?
Oh, okay. Yeah, good question, actually. Because I wasn't really expecting you to go there. Okay, so I'll say this on Risache. I think he I think there's just a it's just a tough matchup against the Magic for him
For sure.
because they're just so long, so lengthy at the wing position. I think that is
And they're
maybe part of
big.
it as well.
You
Yeah, yeah.
guys got girth,
Mhm.
not even being
And
funny. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, no, and it's like this team they I think they match up well against him. So that's part of like that could be part of it too. But he has been coming on as of late like really strong. And you see that with like a lot of rookies. The players that I'm looking to see if they can potentially be restricted are who is coming off the bench for the Magic. Right now, in the last matchup against the Hawks, Jamahl Mosley did something really different where he sat Jet Howard, Goga Patase, and Tristan da Silva. Tristan da Silva, for the Hawks fans, that was the first round pick this year. He has been pretty good for us.
Okay.
Really good depth. Jet Howard was a lottery pick a couple years ago. Hasn't really panned out, but he's one of the like two shooters we got on this team. So a
Right.
little unusual to see both of them not play on the wing. And then Bataze is the other center. And we just talked about how big this team is. They didn't play him, and they played Jonathan Isaac for 11 minutes in that game.
Wow.
So I think they played like smaller, like down, like against the Atlanta Hawks in the and I'm looking at not the last game that they played, the last like real game that they played,
For
quote
sure.
unquote.
For sure.
Yeah, like I think that was on the 8th or something when the 7th seed was actually on the line there. So I'm looking at that game and I'm thinking, I don't know if if those rotations, if those minutes are going to stay the same. If they do, I'm kind of disappointed to not see those guys. Also, kind of sad to see Gary Harris out there. If you're, a Magic fan, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
he's just out there getting cardio. But yeah, looking at the bench, who is the first to come off? Can Anthony Black like end up defending Trey Young at some point?
All right.
I don't know. We'll see.
You know what? And it's great that you brought up the bench because, again, looking through just the box scores and how games have shaped out between the Magic and Hawks, I've noticed that George Niang has been a player that has gotten a lot, especially after the not All-Star, but after the trade deadline once coming up, because he played, I think, 3 games versus the Orlando Magic. He's gotten a lot of minutes. And one of the things that fans have had an issue with is that coach has given him a lot of minutes in efforts to turn him on. It's almost like he needs a lot of time to turn on. It needs a lot of time to turn because he's a good 3-point shooter, but he's streaky. And that's something that I'm noticing. Somebody that I am keeping my eye on coming off of the bench for the Atlanta Hawks would be Karis LeVert, somebody that has said that he wants to stick around with the Hawks post this season. And I do feel as though he offers a bit of a different look for the Orlando Magic. I know that he's a bit longer than what the Hawks have or Hawks are at the guard position. So, again, just looking at how bench production goes, I do feel as though George Niang needs to be on point tonight. If they plan on playing him long minutes, if they plan on bringing him in for an extended period of time, he needs to be on point tonight. Anybody from you guys' side of things that just that they have to be on, they have to get started and they got to go now.
So Wendell Carter Jr. played and he got a little chippy in the last real game. I'm gonna keep referencing that.
Right. It did.
Yeah,
It definitely
it
did.
got a little chippy. He played well and he had like some great moments on defense down the stretch too. Some great fouls. But regardless, like he had 17 points, 6 of 9 shooting. He was good. So him playing well, if Mosley's gonna keep the rotation and not bring another big into the game for any longer than 11 minutes, then Wendell Carter Jr. has to play well because he's at the 5 and he's like really a true 4.
Mm.
So he's got to play well. But KCP, man, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, outside of like Paul George and maybe a couple other signings around the league, like big time, bigger name signings, I don't know if there's a more disappointing signing this year than KCP
Yeah, I was
for the
wondering
Magic.
about that.
Yeah.
Is he not a? I understand on the court you want a certain level of production, but yet off of the court, having that presence on inside of the locker room, because you guys have a fairly young organization right about now. So to have somebody that has been in different situations, who I think he's actually won a championship with the team with LeBron.
Oh yeah, with
Like,
I thought
was it the
Nuggets
Bubble Lakers?
and I thought he had Nuggets and Heat. I thought, or no, I'm sorry, not the Heat. Nuggets and Lakers. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're so
yeah.
right. Yeah,
So, I mean, to have somebody that has that type of experience coming into the lock, does that not affect you guys in a more positive way?
I definitely think it does. I can't speak too much on like what goes on with the locker room, but I know from the outside looking in that these guys are like together. They are a team, but over time through 82 games, you need a little bit of extra push sometimes. And I think your voice in the locker room, you know, kind of also becomes elevated. It's heard more too if you're really killing it out on the court. He had
Right.
15 points in the last game. He's shown some flashes of potentially what he was supposed to be when we initially were signing him.
For
So
sure.
that's good, and I think that helps him talk to the rest of the team, especially because they got Mo Wagner out for the rest of the year, Jalen Suggs out for the rest of the year. Those are team leaders. KCP kind of stepping in and being that guy. It's definitely a thing. It's possible. It's probably happening behind the scenes in the locker room, but just the simple on the court play almost feels like it's probably taking away
non-existent.
from it a little bit.
Yeah, just a quick, because you brought up Jalen Suggs. Wasn't he and his lady cute last night during the WNBA draft? That was so cute. First of all, I forgot that he was dating somebody that played college ball going into the WNBA, but they were so cute last night, man. I was like, oh. But listen, this was really good. First of all, really informative. Again, I never knew much about. I know about the Orlando Magic, but didn't necessarily keep up with that as much. But going out, what is your prediction for tonight's game? Do you have an over/under, all that other jazz? Do you want to give some tips to anybody that could be possibly betting on the game? Some money and whatnot.
Man, 5.5. I'm not gonna lie, that does seem a little close to Orlando's favor. 226 over under. I haven't really looked at it too much
Okay.
when it comes to that, but I will say the path that the Magic have to win, Paulo and Franz both play well, neither shoot poorly. They get one guy off the bench that shoots well, maybe makes 3 threes or something like that.
For sure.
And then Anthony Black can play some good defense on Trae Young. And also I haven't mentioned it yet, but Dyson Daniels, if him defensively scares me.
Yeah.
For Cole Anthony and Anthony Black and Corey Joseph, Anthony Black's not an undersized point guard, but Corey Joseph and Cole Anthony are genuinely shorter, smaller players. Playing them both at the same time, I don't know how often Jamahl Mosley is going to want to do that. But 226, this could be a defensive battle. This could be a fight. I could see that. I could see that as well. But I don't know if this is going to be a blowout either way.
I'm taking the under. I think it'll be. I do believe it'll be up to about 100 points, maybe about 200 to about 210 combined. But I'm going to take the under on that. I do feel as though it's going to be a defensive battle. Granted, I know who you're taking. I know who I'm taking. So let the best team win. Granted, myself and Chris Tipmore will be checking back in later tonight. Hopefully, if God permitting, we'll be definitely checking back in tonight to do a quick game review. But hey, man, Pat, I appreciate, man. Give him a round of applause, people. Give this man a round of applause. I appreciate you stepping in and giving me some good insight, good intel on tonight's game. Anything you want to say, give us your socials, give us your, tell everybody about the Magic's digest really quickly.
Yeah, man. Hey, if you're interested in Magic basketball, you just want to hear a little bit of NBA talk, Magic Digest, you already know. Same thing as Hawks Digest. Y'all can go there. Also, you were saying best team win tonight. I have been throwing this out there to everybody for the Magic. Would you rather, if you knew that you would win the game against the Heat or the Bulls, would you rather lose tonight and then go play the Cavs in the first round? I think I would probably rather play the Cavs in the first round than the Celtics, but
big talk. Goodness, big talk. We talking an upset? Are we talking an upset?
Oh, I'm talking a couple games off the Cavs or something. And I'm not too crazy. I'm not too crazy. Maybe. Yeah.
I've actually felt the same way. I felt like with the Hawks, if they can take a team to 5 or 6 games, hats off to them. I think it was a great season, considering the fact that we don't have Jalen Johnson, Bogey Bogdanovic, Clint Capella, Larry Nance. It's just a laundry list. Kobe Buffkin, all these guys that just aren't there. So, granted, I do feel as though that's how things are going to wrap up. But tonight, make sure that you guys tune in because the game is 7:30. I think it's going to be on TBS, TNT, True TV, Google. Where else do you think it's going to be?
I think you may have covered it. I mean, there's probably some other places too you could take a look at.
Yeah, for sure, man. Pat, thank you for everything. Give him another round of applause. Thank you, Pat, for all the time that you've given us, man, and we appreciate you. Again, let the best team win. My name is Walter Pollard. This is Atlanta Hawks Digest, here with my special guest, Pat Previty. We'd like to see you guys later. Peace.